Hey guys, this is going to be my analysis video for the recent sort of sight deprivation meditation experiment. I'm not really sure what to call it. There was a purpose behind it, and it kind of goes in what I just said, is like the idea that when deprived of sight, your other senses heighten, like you can hear more. I wanted to see if that was true. Obviously I know it's true, but I kind of wanted to experience it myself and see if it made a difference to what I heard and what we captured, because it's not diluted by any noises that I'm making while I'm moving around or talking. And on the other hand, I also wanted to see if meditation would help with the level of activity that I caught. So on one hand, the experiment was quite successful because it was very active. There was obviously a great deal of noises happening, but on the other hand, I don't really know if it was the meditation that made it so active, or if it's always that active and I just don't hear it because I'm too busy actually investigating. So I thought it was successful on one hand, but on the other hand, I didn't really get the answers that I wanted out of it. But overall, it made quite a good little experiment video for you guys. As for the experiment itself, there was a lot of orb captures. And I know the orb debate will go on forever and ever and a day, whether it's an actual apparition or if it's dust, and I'm in no way saying either or. I think sometimes that they are paranormal, and I do believe sometimes they're dust. I think it's very hit and miss, and it depends on the circumstances, and I kind of only focused on 3 of them that I thought were most significant. The first 2 appeared when I first turned the lights off. One made its way across my chest, and then a couple of seconds later another one sort of came out. It felt like it came out from behind me and then made its way across. I might be wrong. But I found them 2 significant mainly because of the timing of them. That's what made them interesting for me, is because it almost felt like this is the beginning of the experiment. I'm turning the lights off and I'm composing myself ready. And then if we assume that these were spirit manifestations, it's like something had recognized that there was going to be an experiment and there was going to be an opportunity to communicate, and it was making its way into the room. And it seems a bit far-fetched when you think of it that way, but that's just kind of how it felt when I saw it on video. That's the reason I kind of focused on it and you know what I mean, put that in the video to begin with. And then the third one, which I think everybody would agree with me is probably the most likely to be a paranormal manifestation, is the one right before I felt the breath on the back of my neck. It kind of makes its way down behind me, down my left side, and then disappears behind my back right before I feel this on the back of my neck. And now a couple of people asked how that breath felt. Did it go down, across? Because I assume because that would dictate the way that the orb reacted. Was it following kind of a stream of air or something like that? And it didn't. It felt like it was directly against the back of my neck. So something was moving into position and then straight on the back of my neck. And obviously that unnerved me quite a lot. I jumped straight up. I didn't expect that. I'm sat with my eyes closed and then I feel that. All windows were closed, so there should have been no drafts. There were no movement on curtains or anything like that. So for that to happen, yeah, that was unusual to me. Okay, so jumping forward to after the experiment, like I said before, the purpose of the experiment was in a way to see if meditation would open me up to more paranormal experiences. And after the experiment had concluded, I kind of took myself downstairs just to kind of wind down and relax a little bit, just get over what had just happened before I go to bed and stuff. And I had this image in my mind, and it sounds weird, but I had this image of a woman in really old-timey dress, like a really skinny, puffed out dress and a big wide brim hat with like almost like a scarf tied around it and dangling down at the back. And yeah, I just kept having this image in my mind, and I felt like this was Anna that I was looking at. You know what I mean? I kind of got that familiar feeling about it, like in my mind that my mind was just saying Anna, and I can't say why, and I understand it sounds weird, but I think this was partially to do with the fact that I was in a meditative state during the experiment, or at least before the video, the 20 minutes before, I kind of slipped into that mindset, and I think that's partially it. Now here's my validation for it, because the next day because I had this image and Anna in mind, I decided to do a bit more research and see if I could find out a little bit more about her. what happened to this girl that has caused her to be lost like this. And so I was researching 1912 because she was born in 1888. She was 24 when she died, therefore 1912. That's the way I'm assuming it's gone down. That's my understanding of it. And so I was researching 1912 and what happened that year, any disasters or anything that happened in the area, and barring the Titanic, which was obviously nowhere near here, there's nothing, especially nothing that points towards a girl called Anna that died. And so I was getting a little frustrated, and I was researching like 1910 and just things that were building up to that sort of time, and I came across this image. And this is not the girl that I was seeing, I'll just make that clear. But if you look at the way she's dressed, this is exactly how I was picturing the girl dressed in my mind. I thought that was interesting because I just don't know why I had this image in my mind, where it came from. And then to sort of take that a step further, I had the ITC experiment image that appeared. Now, here's the image I caught during that experiment. And this is the image I posted on Facebook, and everyone took turns sort of giving me their interpretation of what they're seeing. Some people saw a face sort of half masked in shadow. Some people thought it looked quite feminine. Some people saw a full body. One person thought they saw Hitler in the noise. It's all speculation. There is no definitive answer, but I thought it was interesting the amount of different interpretations there were. But one thing that I saw, and now this is the image I posted online, was a woman in a kind of praying position. And I don't know what it was that made me feel like it was a woman, but I kind of went back to that image and I refined it a little bit. And if you look at this before and after the red lines come in, this looks like a woman wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a puffed-out dress. I don't know if that's pure coincidence. It probably is, and I understand this seems really far-fetched to think about, but for me to have them three bits come together and almost be seeing the same thing, it seems really, it's too much for me to believe that's a full-blown coincidence. Obviously I can't guarantee anything, but I think it's fascinating to think that I might have been able to actually see something through my meditation that could quite possibly be one of the spirits that are kind of here and around. And I, for one, believe that I saw Anna, but I do want your opinions. I want to know what you guys think. I do value your opinion in every single video, so let me know what you think, guys. And as always, I'll post any and all activity as and when I get it.